anyways, but MVP wants to constantly run, and also if you have a long cooldown ultimate, it might play to MVP's favor.
Yeah, I think many teams are even though the mindset is trying to change, I think teams still suffer from losing a team fight against a big ability, and you have this cooldown, you have pressure, but I think some teams are a little bit hard to be able to recover from a loss like that, a lost team fight, and still go in with confidence. I think MVP is one of those teams who will absolutely be like, all right, whatever, we lost that last fight, but now they don't have golems, let's go again, and they'll go with full confidence.
They have to be very careful though. The thing with Warlock is it's a long cooldown, but every time they use the Warlock ultimate, it's very likely that it gains you not only the fight, but it gains you an objective. It takes a tower because it allows you to push.
If used properly.
Yeah, if used properly. That's the thing with the ultimate.
Team's turn to ban.
And it's also an ability you don't want to use defensively,
you don't want,
right?
But then at the same time, even though MVP wants to constantly fight, you don't want to take too much loss against a big cooldown ultimate, even though you want to keep fighting. Because if you lose too much out of one long big cooldown, then it might like cripple you too much for the later fight. So you want to bait out the fight. Bait out the wall ultimate,
back out,
and then lose maybe a support. That would be most ideal, and then fight again after.
And that's in some ways, I think, why Warlock also comes back, because he's still, it's not just the golems, he has also Fatal Bonds, which ensures a lot of extra damage that goes down that can perhaps get you those extra kills, and then even the catch of Upheaval has been buffed up multiple times, so now you actually are both able to force the fights and be able to make sure that they're not able to just immediately back out. So you can get those extra catches sometimes.
So something I'm interested to know is that we were talking and singing the praises of what synergizes well with Fatal Bonds. I mean, we saw the Venomancer Warlock work oh so well. I'd like to know what you guys would suggest could be synergizing well with it in this draft.
Earth Spirit.
Axe in a way does as well.
Axe, yeah.
If he gets a good call and there's Fatal Bonds around there, he groups up people. It's great if you have it's a little bit of a one-more combo combination there if executed properly.
We love our
Well, I'll tell you, probably the best combination is already taken away by MVP Phoenix in their first pick. Mirana is very popular with Warlock. And they followed up with another Vengeful Spirit, which could again be a potential saving hero, right? You use a core to be able to try and bait out the golem, and maybe you can swap back, save that core, leave your Venge to die instead. But it also could still be a very aggressive core Vengeful Spirit, in which case, no cooldown, very in your face.
It's like very obvious your MVP has this Venge plan against OG. They picked it twice in this series, and I guess like the point that I like to bring up when you open a draft, you want to have a hero that's very flexible in a few positions, because they play him in a core role and in a support role. It allows the captain to have an easier time drafting around.
And is that what you consider both Mirana and Vengeful Spirit to be? Flexible? Yeah.
Another good example of that is Juggernaut, just because he's definitely in core, but he is his playstyle is versatile enough, and also his laning configuration is open.
So we're still fishing for the OG to show their... Can they show their hand with this next pick, or can they still keep something relatively
They could potentially go for a support. I don't think... OG is flexible in their supports, but mostly it's how they use it, and you don't really know how aggressive they're going to be with it until you know what their cores they're going to be matched with. I would imagine that Jerix's hero is the last one open there, so we'll see what they go for that. They've played a lot of Rubik, they've played a lot of Earth Spirit.
I think Earth Spirit, that Winter suggested the combos well with the Warlock, and it also works as a nice initiator against Mirana. You have both a stun and a silence to be able to work around. And I think it sets the tempo. I think you want to be able to do that when you have an Axe. Axe is very much a momentum-based offlaner. He can make rotations before his Blink Dagger thanks to Tranquil Boots and the extra movement speed you have there, and also smokes. But oftentimes you want to be able to have a 4 position that helps set those ganks in motion as well.
Just a quick discussion then while we are waiting for the draft. Notel has been described as someone who creates the most space as a carry. He's one of the most space-creating carries out there. Do you agree with that statement?
It depends on his hero.
I think he's not so flashy. He makes space, but he's at times takes space when he needs to.
Boston likes Pudge.
Yes, they do. I think every country, every city,
Pudge Mirana.
They always like to see a Pudge. I think something really important, I don't think we've hit on this enough, is that I think Notail is a very hardworking and versatile player, and on the previous OG he played more of a space creator, and on this OG he, I think, has more opportunities to shine, because sometimes Anna will play the space creator for you, and Notail, I think, he's not the flashiest of players, right, but I think he would be, I think a word to look for is like reliable. right? I think he is a very reliable player, and that's why like sometimes he's like heroes like Dragonite or Razor, like he could do exceptionally well on, and you think of that hero, it's just kind of like he's always going to do his job, right? So
he is the reason Naga Siren gets banned almost every time against OG, because he just plays that hero perfectly, which means it's very annoying to deal with. Not a lot of mistakes coming out from him, as we will see Anna Invoker, which was actually, they played it once before, and it was one of the games that they lost.
Yep, very just solid and straightforward stuff from OG. Good team fight, good setup for the
5 seconds remaining.
Pretty good lanes as well. Warlock does not only have good team fight, but he provides you with very good lanes. It's very good to zone the off laners. And MVP's Pudge pick is kind of.
I feel like you're not happy. I don't think you're a fan of it.
I mean, it's good
with?
against. I mean, it's good against the Axe, because Axe blinks in. He wants to call and kill your teammate. You act as a save, but they already have the bench for that, so they have the Pudge on top.
Yeah. There's a Weaver still again.
He's like a hero that heavily relies. It's an unreliable hero. It heavily relies on the player itself. Like the player has to be one with the hero, and you understand the hero very well and you need to take a lot of risk with Pudge. It's a very risky hero to pick.
10 seconds remaining.
Risk and reward, but I mean, you heard
high reward.
Yeah, you heard it from the casters just before, after the
5
first
seconds
series to conclude. They were saying, if ever you had done something special, if ever you had a curveball, if you had I'm tired of these horrible cliches, ace up your sleeve, blah blah blah. But you know what I'm saying is, if you lose this game of Dota, you are out of the major.
Yeah.
If you lose this next game, you are out, and so
losing style.
And on the other
they
side,
want to lose in style.
If you win this game, you double your prize pool. So there's some incentive there.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget, OG are looking at a bit of revenge here.
Yeah.
I mean, this
remaining.
MVP squad is the team that knocked them down from the upper bracket at TI6. So there is, I think, in some small way, something to prove here for OG, just because they did not get their obviously desired result.
I mean, think about the Pudge here. He only has like one setup. The Venge stun is not that easy to hit in a lot lot of cases, so the Pudge has to land his own hooks,
Yeah, they're either gonna go off real hard with arrows and hooks, or they're gonna fail miserably.
There's gonna be lots of tumbleweeds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because Mirana is very likely their mid hero, so she's gonna provide the team with a lot of deep push, wave clear. They're going to be able to push the lanes and find the fights that they want to.
And there's a couple of defensive spots that OG could hide in that you can very easily try and get an arrow or a hook on and see if someone's hiding out. As Void is their last bet, I'm wondering if they're going to go for a hero that could have some sort of setup for an arrow or a hook, because...
There's not many heroes though.
Yeah.
Assuming the Venge and Pudge are the supports, they would need an offlane Weaver. I'm not sure about offlane Weaver or safe lane Weaver right now. If you want setup, it's more likely an offlane hero. But I'm not like a big fan of a safe lane Weaver. I think if you pick Weaver, you do it like on a support or offlane, or you do a tri lane on the enemy. You try to make the most of the hero in the early stage.
I think that hero has. I think he has very specific peaks, right? And the rest are all valleys.
Very timing orientated.
So it's hard to run him as a reliable safe lane carry, because it's like, okay, you have like this window to operate.
Do something now.
You gotta win the game in that that play, and I think that's really hard to do. So. Especially in this patch, I think people like to be able to see a little bit more longevity to their strategies. They want to be able to see
5 seconds remaining.
If it goes 45 minutes, 55 minutes, we can still play.
Dire team's
and it looks like you're going to get that Ursa after all.
Off lane Weaver, yep, and safe lane Ursa. Pretty good lane to deal with the Axe early. He might have to Iron Talon jungle and just not go to the lane.
But that's not a problem, right? Axe is one of the faster Iron Talon junglers out there.
Him and Dux, yeah,
10
both
seconds
the fastest
remaining.
Iron Talon junglers.
That doesn't mean you give a free lane to the Ursa.
And Benno.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
I would say they don't have the most disruptive supports to
push trap. Incoming.
And the hero to its core.
Well, be very, very...
Okay, Terrorblade, the final... Was that just a little bit of that curve we were looking for? That little bit of something special?
Terrorblade is also a risky pick though, because if the laning phase fails for that hero, the hero is badly crippled if he doesn't have a good laning phase.
Fortunately, there is unlikely to be a very strong aggro presence from MVP because they have a Warlock. So I think their lane should go pretty well. And then if Terrorblade gets rolling right, he's just going to stomp all over these team fights. Ursa's going to have a hard time connecting.
Well, the scene and the stage is set. Could this be the final game of Dota played today here in the Wang Theatre? We'll find out with your casters.
seconds
It's
remaining.
David, it's the double Ds. Enjoy this one. Is he
5
hitting on me?
seconds
Or is
remaining.
that just me?
He's hitting on me, LD. Don't flat. Out of yourself.
For MVP, if they can win the game 3
Prepare
gods.
for battle.
Ran into Fly and Mad walking backstage, and didn't overhear the whole conversation. But basically, the gist of it was, what are they going to do now? Because clearly, what they've been doing isn't working. We have that figured out. They've got to throw us a curveball. We've talked about it. The analysts have talked about it. And do you think this is the curveball? And how do you feel it's going to work?
Yeah, it's not like a crazy strategy. Obviously, you can change your picks, but you can't change your players, your play style as well. That goes with those players. A player like Kyo is going to want to play some of those more flashy heroes. It is going to be something a bit different because Kyo's handling the Weaver, so it's going to be a Weaver mid with Mirana offlane. And I was thinking, when the Mirana got picked, it's like a mid, but it's a mid that doesn't suit Kyo, whereas a Weaver is a hero that can run in, get onto key targets
30
like an
seconds to
Invoker or
battle.
a support Warlock and just find those kills. So it's a more Kyo-esque hero, similar to like how a PA functions. And I think that definitely suits him a bit better. But as far as the overall draft goes, I think MVP are going to have to land those hooks, land those arrows if they are to come on top of this game.
And it is the nature of MVP and the way they draft. They tend to pick lineups that have a much higher threshold for execution required to be able to take the game. Whereas OG, solid
This
team
ain't
fight
no
once they get,
snowball
you imagine,
fight.
the Warlock ultimate, some points in Fatal Bond, Invoker gets his items, the Axe has a Blink. It's very easy for them to pull off team fights in comparison. So, well, as often is the case, MVP going to have to go for an outskill, and this could be how they get the ball rolling.
This will be a good game because they have the better block as well. So that means Invoker will be pushed further forward. He either has to not go for last hits or he's going to die.
They're going top, though. They're going to mix it up here, going for the
Well,
very
Honor's-
squishy Terrorblade.
Onan's expecting it mid because he's positioned so far back right now.
And OG going for that offensive tri-lane start again. I think some of these heroes may have been scouted by MVP, or perhaps just anticipating the same setup. It'll be Feppy in the trees, no-tell. A bit closer to the wave. Definitely doesn't seem like he knows this is coming. It's not the easiest initiation, though. The magic missile range, not the best, but he's getting dangerously close. They can sweep out from the trees. They should have the angle. He gets body blocked just for a moment by his own creep, but trade. The trader creeps, but is it going to be enough? Just a rot to kill. It will barely be so, but Jarek's TPing in. We'll find the trade. So first blood for MVP. They get on the board. It does cost them a smoke, but they force a TP, and that's going to relieve some pressure here on Velo bottom.
It's totally worth it too, because you take a look at mid lane and Honor hadn't got a point of experience until those heroes finally showed on the map, and Kyo,
Speaking of which,
going aggressive. He had
bully tactics here.
not quite level 3. If he had the swarm there, maybe he'd be able to go for a kill. But yeah, Honor was just hugging his tower, missing a lot of the first creep wave of experience and farm just because those two heroes are missing on the map, and it's such a common play to go for that level 1 smoke mid. They were going for top lane, which completely caught OG off guard. I like the decision from No-Tail to go for the illusion level 1, trying to use that to block those arrows coming in, but they didn't need the arrows, just the magic missile plus rot to get the kill.
Yeah, Dubu waiting for a potential flank, but you can see Ana playing this very defensively, just hugging the high ground. Very unlikely to be killed off unless the Pudge can find a hook. Now, I believe he was scouted going towards the bottom rune earlier. Febby. Not sure he has been seen specifically in this location, but they know he's somewhere towards that bottom side of the map, barring a smoke. And as a result, Ana playing extremely defensively. So far, though, the lane's looking decent here. There will be some pressure onto Ana. Going to charge him with the Sakuchi. Doesn't have a point in Wex yet, and QO's just going to go for it. Jarek's joining the fray, looking for the turnaround. Quick, coming in hot, and it won't be enough. The fairy fire there. QO's able to lift the rolling boulder to the right. Jarek's whipping a bit. MVP, they'll find a second.
Well, that's a nice kill to get for MVP. Does mean Q is a bit low on HP here, but he's going to take those that he can get pulled from the Venge as well. And the roll-in's going to miss, and QO go for the punish. He does have to worry about the boulder smash with that arcane rune. Earth Spirit of Jerks has very high uptime.
And no stun on Dubu was just a wee bit short as far as mana goes, but he will have it now. He chooses to stick around, and in fact, another smoke, so you can clearly see the game plan for MVP, as you would expect with this draft. They are going to be constantly shifting positions on their supports, looking for pickoffs. Ana, again, starting to take some heavy pressure in the mid lane. It's going to require Jarex as well as Fly to come in and try to assist them. This is the kind of start you want to slow the Invoker down, but there's the Boulder Smash, called Sunstreak. Not enough damage. In fact, Dubu there with the turnaround, the Cold Snap. Oh, he's able to fade just in time. Sakuchi to the rescue, and Ana will be thwarted once again.
Very, very
Meanwhile,
close.
Fly gonna take some punishing here, but there is a Berserker's call, so Velo doesn't want to push it.
6 stacks of Fury swipes on him, so S4 has to be very careful here. Any kind of hook or Earthshock could be the death of him. He really wants to reset that, and it looks like he'll get the ability. He'll get it.
Derek's going for the suicide now, but already MVP. Off to a decent start. That said, though, the side lanes are farming well for OG Gods. S4 basically free farmers. There's a hook bottom. Will catch out Fly. They have to follow up. He's got the Earthshock. He instead turns back onto S4. Then he's trying to kill Fly off. They're going for the twofer, and they might just get it, but then Jarex arrives. Boulder Smash comes through. Will connect on Febulous, still giving chase. S4, 5 stacks, but he's salving up. He's juking through the trees. He winds his way around. He starts to get out, but Dubu there to cut him off at the pass. At least he hopes so. It will be enough, but Fly able to limp away. So they get the core. All the while, No Tail is just freely farming up in this top lane, and we're starting to really struggle in what's become a 1v1.
Yeah, it's not going to be a lane that Mirana can do great in that 1v1 when Metamorph is up. You have to be pretty scared and for it. Just need to respect No Tail's pressure coming in. But the big thing is you want to try win those other 2 lanes. Pressure the Invoker at mid, find the kills at bottom. MVP, you're okay exchanging that for the free farm of Terrorblade. And so far they've done pretty decent, only 12 CS on Honor's Invoker, and Kyo's looking to pose a big threat on him in this mid lane.
Derek's just camping out mid, but he was scouted for a moment there.
I think Jarek's like not really in his element as far as how he has to play the Earth Spirit. He's forced to play defensive and kind of predict where MVP are going to get aggressive. Normally he wants to be the one ganking, setting things up, but he has to kind of respond to MVP because of the nature of MVP's draft and how aggressive they want to be.
And keeping an eye on OG, they have already started stacking Ancients, and this is something that we have seen a lot from teams over the last 4 to 5 months, where when they run the Axe, it's often the early Vanguard. They will try to, whether it's a Shadow Demon disrupting the Axe or just someone to heal him in the form of the Warlock, they try to clear Ancients early and get that farm advantage. And specifically for OG, it's been a big component of their play style. Yep. EG probably the other team that really likes to try to play the economy game.
Ubu swoops in. He did have his smoke pop, but Axe still has not seen the Venge in the river.
Creeping in. It is nighttime. 6-minute rune about to spawn. S4 unlikely to be the one that goes for it. It's not the longest range initiation unless they hit the hook. And Febby, he's going to worm his way into the trees. Does have the tango here if he wants to find a better position. He'll see his way in a bit deeper. S4 is going to show himself for a moment, threatening for a call on the tower. The Fly will snag the bounty.
Could have gone for Fly at the rune, but they still may. Jarex is here too.
They're going to find Jerax holding onto the hook for now. They need the combo. He gets pushed onto the high ground. Febby wants to bring him up there with him, but isn't able to do so. S4 meanwhile being forced back by an angry bear. Dubu will have, actually won't have a stun. He's about 20 mana short. While simultaneously, No Tail in the top lane, getting run down by Kuo. Early rotation from the Weaver. Big kill for MVP. And they're not done just yet in the bottom lane as they continue to pursue Jerax. Febby does have the hook, just barely the mana available. Going for the TP out. Come back here, says Febby. Actually hooks him past his own body. And Jerax just starts to limp the other way. There's still no vent stun. Looks like with the Wave of Terror usage, won't have the mana for some time. They continue to close in, but he's going to have a rolling boulder out relatively soon. He wants to go for it. Juking down to the low ground. See you later, he says. And now, time for the Roche suicide. So after all that, meanwhile, mid, QO continues to duke it out with Ana. This tempo is the kind of tempo that MVP generally wants, guys. Very aggressive, constant lane shifting, and not allowing OG to play the farm game.
Yeah, this is perfect for them. Perfect for QO to be on a hero that can play as aggressive as he is. The 2 supports are just kind of freely moving around as a 2-man unit, having some success here and there. Not quite getting as many kills as they have hoped for because of how annoying Jerax has been. And really hats off to Jerax. He's kind of salvaged this early game for OG. He's basically been buying time for his carries to get all the farm they're getting because he's keeping those supports busy and not even dying. Both of his deaths, the suicide. So MVP haven't found as many kills as perhaps they were hoping for with the supports. It's been more QO rotating around, finding some action. Velo and the Ursa getting one. So we're going to see if the Pudge can truly come online and start landing some of those hooks soon. So he is going to go for another smoke gank here at top lane. It looks like him and Dubu. These 2-man smokes have been the name of the game. This is the 3rd 2-man smoke from the support duo.
No TP on Fly. There is one on Jerax, but he's busy dealing with an angry bear, and the scan will be on the mark. So they know he's likely in the area, still under cover of smoke. They move in. Febby was revealed. He lobs out the hook. And with that, the jig is up. They do get the lane ward down. They might be able to intercept Jerax. As a haste rune, though. So it will be a very tough kill as Febby, dropping his Tranquil Boots, is going to be arming up the camp. Don't want to see those getting sniped, but should be okay.
No tellers, no TP. It looks like they want to go for Jerax on the Earth Spirit, but that's as we've seen already, a very tough kill to get.
Oh, even S4 rotating in 4 up. They know he already used his leap. They're going to try to pursue. As the phase moves, that hook is there. Turning Jerax away, that's a stun. Securing the kill, the turnaround coming in from OG. They will get the Sunstrike kill with the help of Ana in the mid lane. And speaking of Ana, he's busy dealing with QOs, diving him under the tower. He will barely survive as they continue to ring around the tree line, trying to bring down the cat lady. Can't quite do it. Ana so low, and here comes Dubu for the cutoff. He's going to have a wave of terror momentarily, but Ana's healing up. He probably needs an auto attack as well. Not quite enough damage. Won't be able to get the kill, but the pressure does mount a bit on the Invoker. Back to the base for him as S4 his turn to try and match the tempo of MVP. Gets up the call. Sunstrike coming in. It's a lot of damage at this point. And there's the chop up with your head, says Mr. Gustav. They will get the kill.
They even used the Moonlight Shadow here, but Pudge is trying to take that to set up on this mid lane, but again, it's the Earth Spirit Jerax, proving time and time again how difficult he can be to bring down. And
I mean, OG are just doing such a good job at farming during this time, God, that even though MVP, it seems like they're forcing OG to play to their tempo, rack up the kills. They're the ones pushing down a tier 1 bottom. No tail, top of the CS charge. He will grab the tower now. They're barely trailing, in fact, about to be ahead by a significant margin when it comes to net worth, and the same for Xspirit. So I have to pose you the question, is MVP doing enough?
Currently no, but they're going to keep playing this tempo. They're going to look for Velo perhaps to get that fast blink and keep on going. They're going to use their fourth and what? I want to say their fourth smoke here.
Febby, he did pop down to the low ground, and in doing so, got pinged out.
Yep.
Jerax keeping his eyes on the minimap, and now the scan to confirm what they likely already knew.
S4 wants his blink, but he's not going to die for it. He's backed off. He's not even going to find that jungle. And Notel perhaps a bit further forward, but
sends the illusions marching through the woods. One does get slightly blocked for a moment, and even the ping now from S4. So OG completely sniffing out VP's movement. And with that, they start to run pretty low on smokes here. None in the restock for 10 minutes for MVP, and they're even going to end up ganking an illusion.
They use 4 smokes in 10 minutes. I haven't seen that in a long time. Normally you use 1 smoke in the first 10 minutes and then 2 to 3 smokes in the mid game. They have 0 smokes for the mid game.
And in spite of that, Ana already has his Midas. He wants to use it, but they're going to look for the punish here. The double star connect. Something to pick up the mark. Jerax going away, and Febby wanted to reel him back in with the hook mid-range. Quite find the range.
The smokes haven't been super successful, but what has been successful for MVP is the game plan of just ganking and fighting. It's not been overwhelmingly successful. Like, they're not picking up a huge amount of kills. They are still like a tiny bit behind because of the Terrorblade taking towers, but they have put themselves in a position to keep going for these fights and kills by having a strong enough early game.
And with that, there was also a nice pick off on the bottom lane as Fly is so close to his ultimate. Desperately trying to secure it. Does get punished.
And Spall's got Blink now, so we'll see if he can set a defense up in this middle lane. Perhaps something that will catch OG by surprise, and perhaps let's say this is now time for them to smoke. They've got lots left. They've got one they're using now. They've still got another one on Fly that's waiting to be used, so
oh god,
there's
this
no
combo gods. Level 3 Fatal Pods with the rock and the Blink Call.
Baby. He's not going to get going on.
Dubu, he's going to tank the gank. Probably their ideal target. There will be 3 gold and experience going the way of OG as they look now to transition into a tower push. And maybe a QO pickoff. He's going to lay out the swarm.
I guess
already the Glint committed here against the Terrorblade. This hero pushes extremely hard and very fast. Velo sneaking in, undercover Moonlight Shadow. They're going to drop the rock and try and take this fight. Bring it down, baby. No kill shatters too, and Velo still trying to lock onto a target. He will settle on S4, running him down with the flash. He does have an overpower and will want to kill him off as well, so make it a 2 for 3. It's about to be a 2 for 4. A big fight. MVP nailing OG down. Even the tower defended, and that was with the rock. What a great defense.
Yeah, very important. Velo's instantly into the Roshan pit. He doesn't waste time. He's got his Mask of Madness to Mercuria.
Uh-oh. Jerax, he runs in and he pushes him up and away.
Tried to probably get him on the hill, but didn't achieve that. And he may just go right back in. Mask of Madness,
like,
I said.
Come push me out again, bro. There's no rock right now. They don't have Magnetize yet, as I say that. Jerax just gets level 6.
Gold. Triple TP. They also need to respect the Sunstrike.
And he's just used the Mask of Madness. Gets back immediately. Sunstrike. Oh, Velo. A timely enrage, recognizing his demise could be imminent, and I think God's a good thing he backed off there, as had he continued on the Roche, he probably dies and gives it away to OG.
Leaves Roche nice and healthy, so something OG can't go for.
Not much
Having a
good's
Metamorph and
happening
not
to
likely
Radiant's
to
bottom
work out for
tower.
them.
Take another look at this very helter-skelter fight, which really was defined by a kind of underwhelming Warlock
Radiant's
ultimate from
bottom
OG.
tower is
Didn't
under
find that
attack.
big AoE combo they were looking for, and then Ursa able to just clean up afterwards.
Yeah, the Weaver got first, so they focused too much
Radiant's
perhaps
middle
on Cure here,
tower
because
is
Velo
under
just
attack.
went in with the Enrage, taking no damage whatsoever, and Fly also couldn't really find the best Fatal Bonds onto multiple heroes, so worked really well
Radiant's
for
bottom
Velo, but he
tower
gets
is
ignored in the fight.
under
He did more damage than the Weaver there, so worked out just how MVP wanted. They want the fights to come to them. That almost played into their hands with
Radiant's
OG
middle
going for that
tower
aggressive
is
smoke
under
maneuver.
attack.
And if you have that big ultimate and you don't hit the Fatal Bonds, you don't really combine the Warlock rock with the call, then all of a sudden MVP's draft is perfect for those kinds of chaotic fights. Very low cooldowns, lots of single target, good individual burst, and for OG, scout out Dubu here on a little journey uphill. The host does come in for the turnaround. Demi getting the dismember with the rod. Has quite enough damage as Dirax rolls, but it's a very short range roll. Velo coming in for the cleanup, and now Forever on the chase as
better
well.
help
Brings
Dire's
Fly
middle
low,
tower.
forcing him back and away, and they may contest these agents under cover of Moonlight Shadow. They pursuit the Ags is coming
very
soon
low.
for Forever Gods. This could be
Is that-
huge for
Okay,
MVP.
yeah, he's got most of the pieces now. I saw him pick up the Blade of Lacry first, like, is he still going for the Ags? But yeah, now he's got the point good stuff. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. It's just very rare to see the Blade first, but of course, that's not too bad. MVP
S4 known for his big plays around the road, not able to find one here. Demi though will be first. Good sunstrike from Otto, but now on the run, he's going to be controlled for the time being. Arrow comes through. Velo though, they'd love to pop this Aegis. Can they do it? Chases in from no kill, can't quite finish him off. Still they have the fatal bonds on him. Ana sticking around. Aegis going to be popped in now. Ana almost dead into the pit. One more auto attack will bring him down, but he's not going to drop. OG will now scatter, look for the retreat. Jerax rolling up and away over the hill. And we'll live to fight another day. So MVP, in the end, Sunstrike. Connect on Velo, not enough for a kill, but they do lose their Aegis as quick as they grabbed it, but they get some extra gold to go along with it.
Yeah, doing all of this before the Ursa even completes his Blink Dagger. He's going to have that with the Phase and Mask of Madness soon, and that's where MVP get even scarier in these constant fights and engagements that we're seeing. So MVP will hit this peak where they get the Ags on the Mirana, the Blink on Ursa. Weaver's just looking to get as much stats and to tank up as much as possible. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cure go into some kind of like
Radiant's
Diffusal
middle
or
tower shouldn't have
Manta
to
just so
take
we
this
can purge
abuse.
off the Earth Spirit Silence, but don't want to keep on fighting even with the Aegis getting
Dire's bottom
immediately
tower is
taken
being
away.
chipped away.
And I
Dire's
want
no
you to
fortified
expand on
their
that a bit, God.
structures.
So you look at OG, they have Terrorblade, they have a Quas Exort Invoker who went for a Midas.
Dire's
We heard
bottom
briefly
tower
from the
needs some
panel they
help.
thought if the Terrorblade gets away with a decent laning stage, it's going to be very tough to deal with. So I'll ask you, how do you see these teams matching up if MVP's not able to just completely run them over at this stage? And MVP take it later, or are they just going to be in OG's doghouse at that point?
They can do it right. Mirana's very good dealing with those illusions.
Radiant's
Nice
top
hook to
tower
Bella,
deserves
Dubu.
just as much help as
I say
bottom.
Bella now,
Dire's
looks like
bottom
he's still
tower
back.
is under
He's kind of
attack.
screwed anyways.
And chop, and now S4 getting the move speed, still has a call available.
But I mean, Ultra late game not going to look great. But as far as like the Terrorblade having one or two big items, you're doing fine because Mirana Ags will easily deal with PB illusions. You've got good initiation coming out from the Pudge as well as potentially Mirana Arrow, and the Ursa himself who can just go charging
Radiant's
in.
middle
So
tower could use some
I feel
help.
much better about MVP's position
Radiant
this game than
structures
last. There's
have
no
been
like
snow
problem here as they
fortified.
can't deal with. It's just going to be whether or not OG can kind of survive the onslaught and whether they can
middle tower
survive
shouldn't
the
have to take
downtime
this
of their
abuse.
ultimates. There's two big ones, the Warlock Chaotic Offering and the Terrorblade with his Metamorph, I guess, if you not really an ultimate, but effectively the hero's ultimate. If you don't have those two spells, you have to be very careful at fighting.
S4 setting up top lane to turn this gank on Ana around. Unfortunately, Q-O's a bit too quick, and he's able to scurry away. Brings the Invoker down solo and lives to tell the tale. Space created for his teammate.
Yeah, there was
We'll
a
see 4F grabbing the Aghanim down the Mirana.
short cooldown on the Invoke. He was like 2 seconds short before he could get the Ghost Walk. He actually invoked it right before he died, but the attack of Cure was already midair.
And second time that Midas has been cooldown when he's dead. Not ideal for an Invoker who wants to be pulling ahead.
Weaver, as mentioned, kind of very solid hero to the PA, and that's how playing it bottom lane. They've gone on with the Ursa.
Early rock drop, and now Velo just trying to TP away. That's not going to happen, though, as S4 is on the case. No more Aegis for this bear. And down he will go. A slash of the Terrorblades. Bring it down. It's going to find Bebby as well here with the roll from Jarex. Strike. No chance of that. Again, it's the Axe finishing off a low HP hero.
Top tower is gone. Just a cold
Yeah, that
fog
was
left behind.
way too aggressive coming out from Velo's Ursa, but it's one of those things where you're kind of feeling it. You've had a really good start. He was
Not
5
much
and 0
good's
before that, so
happening
he was
to
on a big
Radiant's
kill
bottom
streak,
tower.
which makes the death hurt him
Those
even that
cracks
much
in
more.
Dire's
But
top tower?
as it stands, MVP just
Radiant's
kind of need to
bottom
keep their
tower
cool. They're in a
has no
position
more.
where they can go well and
fortified
scale
their
into the mid game.
structures.
Pure's got 2.5k
They're
gold.
beating on
Four's got the
Dire's
Axe that we
top
talked
tower.
about him really needing, and now they've got cooldown on the Wall of Rock. So now if they want to look to fight, it's only the Metamorphosis they have to worry about.
That's they could go for an arrow
tower
play
has
here.
fallen.
He was scouted by a freshly planted ward. But
Radiant's bottom
Those 2 towers
got
for Pure, he just
problems.
suddenly racks up a huge amount of gold off of that. So all in all, the trades we just kind of saw, say, slightly favoring MVP.
Radiant's
no, guys, I
bottom
hate to harp
tower
on
is
this, but
under
I have to bring it up
attack.
again. 2 games in a row now where Dubu really struggles in the level
Radiant's middle
progression. He's
tower
5
go?
at 19 minutes. Still no swap.
Yeah, he's having a bad series. And some of his deaths have not been like a death. It's like let's walk at the enemy ancients by myself to try to put down the ward or scout. This is, I don't know, Dubu's just not feeling it in this series. He's just not really reading the game very well. And as that support role, you've kind of got to be able to read your opponent's movements. And so far, it's not really happening. Dubu, yeah, 5 of his team's 12 deaths and not finding any experience whatsoever.
There's been a bit of a struggle for him. So we'll see Jarex chilling in the bottom lane. Now going to TP back. But he TPs to the tier 2 bottom, suggesting, oh gee, thinking about a tower defense, but they do not have the chaotic offering.
Yeah, that's the big one. And they can just kind of chip at the tower with the Mirana and Weaver if they want. Ideally, you keep the Ursa kind of further back or hidden. And yeah, if you're OG, you're thinking, let's wait for the Rock to fight. Let's actually split push here.
Dire's bottom tower
Nutel's also
has
got no
shattered
mana
to
on his
little
Terrorblade, so
pieces.
there's absolutely no way to fight around him. He brings himself some mana, a mango in fact, so it's a bit more team fight ready, but tower's already down and MVP will back off to push out their lanes.
So going back to something you brought up, I think it's really important to note here, MVP, much better catch. If OG try to play that split push game, they have Moonlight Shadow initiated. Forever moving on the fly, there's a rolling boulder back. Still that Mirage in position, Sunstrike and a chop will get the kill. Fly the trade so far, 1-for-1, but losing your very farm carry Mirana. Not ideal as Jarex is pursued a bit by QO. All the while, they are split pushing though, Velo, threatening to move in on Ana.
I mean, that play there sums up MVP a bit.
And they're not done just yet. Team for S4 now. He wants the turnaround. He's going to try to isolate Dubu. Poor unfortunate still. He is in the trees, and another free offering of gold the way of OG. It's starting to feel like Benj is a big range creep at this point.
Yeah, it starts with Mirana leaping in. She thought she had landed the arrow, I want to say, because that was kind of when before I was leaping in as if he hit the arrow and was about to get a double star storm off to solo kill the Warlock, but the arrow had been sidestepped and then suddenly he leapt into multiple heroes. That was, I mean, it's one of those things where MVP, this aggression will win them games, but sometimes it will also lose them games. Normally it's in the hands of Kyo. That was normally the more stable player for it, but he's playing that carry role in some ways with the farm he's got on Mirana. And without a Blink Dagger, he did not have a way in as well as out.
So what is the next big timing here for MVP gods? Is there a certain objective you'd like to see them go for, an item they're waiting on?
No real items, it's more just better initiations, perhaps using that. They've now finally got another smoke they can play around. They want to keep going for pickoffs, and I guess there is the Mirana Blink Dagger, which is going to allow for it to farm a lot fast. They can then use Blink to initiate and still have the leap to escape, but all in all, MVP just need to find the pickoffs that don't lead into OG turning those fights around. Like bottom lane, not the kind of play you want to be making. You need to kind of read what's going on a bit differently around the map.
Well, OG gonna smoke and try to cover the bait that is No-Tail's Terrorblade. QO, the first man in, is gonna reveal that smoke. Does get caught by a blink. Beautiful initiation press for it. Cut number 1. A success. Now looking for the second is Velo. Keeps the magnetize from Jarex. Now it's to back away. They're cold snapping him. Already committing his ultimate. With the master dagger, he drops pretty quickly. They finish off. Jarex is down. They fight. We make it 4 heroes. Bite in the dust. All of it scouted by QO, but unable to get out before OG closed in. And by the way, they did that without the chaotic offering.
And the timing's come really for OG at this point. When they've got Rock and Metamorphosis, they are bloody strong and hard to deal with. No-Tail in the front lines with the Metamorphosis is just king of the team fight with his actual damage output. And they don't even need a rock. When MVP is kind of committing that hard on them, if they don't get more done with the Ursa in race, they're going to be in
Radiant's
trouble.
bottom tower is
Really
fallen.
nice catch there by Score. You can see actually a slight glimpse of QO's Weaver before he tucked behind the trees, so able to isolate him, bring him down, and from there it's just kind of a route with the additional move speed that the team garners from Culling Blade, making it very easy to find those follow-up kills.
See some of the perhaps despair on QO's face there. He knows things are not going too well for him. That's a couple, both his recent deaths where he's gotten bursted down while either silenced or cold, and has been able to do as much in the team fights. He's been great as far as getting pickoffs and finding kills when he's gone rotating around the map, but anytime he's tried to go with his team, take a kind of head-on fight, he's been one of the targets that OG are just locking down and preventing from having an impact on the fight. And I think MVP want to bring more numbers. They didn't have them around last time. This time they're going as 5. They're smoked up. They know Roche has respawned, and they may actually use this to take an Aegis if they so choose, but ideally they're going to get killed.
Dire scan though, scouts it all out. MVP not going to be getting an easy jump on OG. They're still thinking about a hook here for Febby. Sam, QO. Away. Only an illusion though, and now it's OG's turn to move. They have to magnetize. Jerax just got mana back at base. They've got the full combination available. Roche is already dead. Oh no, and the worst blunder by Mela will take that Aegis, but slows it down, and they are going to be able to force Fly back and away. Holds on to the chaotic offering. Arrow did connect in the meanwhile on F4 the axe. Thinking about a retreat, but not sure he can run away from this Marauder. Melo's there. They're going to gain up on him. He almost gets a double kill with that blade mail damage, but Febby combining with the team will find the kill. So they grab an Aegis, they get a kill, and they don't lose anything.
Starting to feel kind of similar to last game where MVP are going to keep looking to 5-man a bit. OG can actually go split pushes. Honor's now already at the top lane. This time around MVP do have catches. This time around OG actually have team fight to fight into the 5v5.
He's sticking around Febby, baiting nicely. Here's Honor charges in. Oh, hey buddy, how you doing? Arrow completely whipped there by 4F. We'll be able to chase him back though. And the hunt is on. Will there be any sort of support from NoTel? No, he's got TP away. Honor dropping that zoning ice wall, but another Blake forward, and with the double start ball, 4F will find the kill. He had dust. Anna knew there was no way to get after middle lane. Velo and QO have gone in deep, perhaps a bit too deep. They will find the axe kill earlier, but Velo turns it. He breaks down Jared, puts the slam down NoTel as well. Only the Thunder to re-engage here, and he's going to come into the metal mark as they put Velo back and away. Just forward. Trying to move onto him, gets off the blade belt, almost killing off the Ursa, the Bears on the run. No honey for you, sir, they say, and Febby 2 will fall. OG salvaging that, and they bring down 2 of the 3 cores.
Including the breaking the Aegis too, so that really puts them up in a great position now. Have committed the Metamorphosis as well as the Chaotic Offering, so they're going to have a couple minutes of downtime, and if you're MVP, you're thinking, yeah, that fight went bad, but we've got to keep going at it. We can't just sit back and let them take it to the late game with this Terrorblade, who's going to become a bigger and bigger problem. Invoker, same thing, where it's a hero that's just going to scale better the longer the game goes, the more items you get. They need to go and fight and take the game OG as soon as possible.
It's another pick for S4. He'll find it too, and it's on for Ev. This axe has been massive for OG, 10, 4, and 6. He tops the kill charts and has been creating a lot of space for the team. Is behind him, NoTel and Anna quietly accruing their farm. You can see NoTel just now completing the Eye of Scotty. Big item for him. You mentioned the Ags on Anna, and there's still plenty of room for these cores to grow.
With the Scotty, NoTel kind of is starting to reach that point where you can't burst him down in a fight. He's always going to be able to tank through any damage you throw at him, and then he can turn around, kite the Ursa pretty well with the Scotty. He's got very high armor, high HP. The damage just isn't there to kill him. Unless you hit like a 5-second arrow with the Ursa hitting him as well as the Ag Starstorm, and even then you're going to be fighting likely into the Chaotic Offering of the Warlock.
S4 just barely clipping him on the boundary of that Berserker's Call.
I love how you can see it, like he just says, like right before he's blinking, you can see him say something quickly on the mic, and I'm sure he's saying, Sunstrike, get ready. Like that's him talking to Honor there, like making sure that the Sunstrike's coming, and OG get themselves a straightforward pickoff and setting themselves up to have a very big late game here. And all they need to do is get to that late game point with farm across the board on their cores, and that's exactly what they're doing. Ursa not a hero known for his ability to scale the longer the game goes on, and we're kind of starting to reach that point where this Ursa is having greater and greater difficulties actually fighting into OG because of how he gets kited around.
And they have a lot of kiting tools. The Invoker with Eggs alone is a one-man army for that. And the Earth Spear, we've seen Jerax consistently shoving him away. You even have to worry, no matter what, Paul as well as the Rock. It's tough. They look for on a bottom lane, just off the tornado. The Moonlight to try and disengage. They want to back out. They try to lane. It's heavy. Probably Mono dropping the Echo, scurrying away. Beautiful fly, saved at the last hour. And now Double kill. 3 down with the Yules to make it 4. They're going to find 2 4 well. Double kill. OG snowballing out of control now. They get 26-19. And what do you know, gods? They could go late, but they say no, nay. We end this one now, or at least try. Onto the high ground and into the breach.
Yeah, well, anytime they're fighting around Metamorph, specific character offering, there's not much MVP can do. Best case scenario, Ursa gets on the enrage, kills one, and then gets kited and dies, but he doesn't even get the enrage off. He got first, it's so damn hard by the Invoker and the Terrorblade there, and they're going to lose one Drac, possibly even multiple here if you go for the mid-one bench. With Metamorph is wearing off, this is a team who will likely back off, play it safe, look to reset.
God, they just pushed so fast. One misplay by MVP. And it was a misplay by MVP, but guys, it has to be said, OG has been setting these traps all game. They'll show like one core pushing a lane, 3-4 heroes are there or ready to TP in the case of the Invoker. We're going to see it again now. Oh, hey guys, here's the Invoker. Come and get on it. But little do you know, there's already 3-4 heroes streaming to the bottom lane to counter-initiate.
And it's one of those scenarios where a lot of teams would just let their support Pudge die. Like, well, it's just a Pudge. Let's leave them there to die. And Mirana actually leaped away. But this is MVP. They know their way back in this game, and their playstyle is to try and fight through what looks to be terrible fights. Another great stun and silence there from the stun hitting the Weaver to make sure they could kill off Huo again. They're just shutting him out of these fights, and there's so little that MVP can do at this point. They're just playing into OG's hands. You kind of mentioned they're just laying these baits, and it's always Jerax as well as Fly turning these fights around, as well as S4 and attacks 12-4 and 7. He's really stood out as far as punishing MVP throughout this game.
Speaking of the man, he's out farming a Mirana. Now, granted, they do have a bit of a tower advantage here, but that is impressive, to put it mildly.
And now it's harder to find these pickups. The item's just going to accrue as Rack's money goes OG's way.
Light Shadow, they try to come into it already. The sun set, another death for Double, one down for around good magnifies, and then Double slicing through the earth, but easily bringing him down. 4 have fallen. 4F trying to get at least a solitary kill of this fight. Will taser Jerax and leaps away, but OG, they go for the real prize now. That's going to be potentially a second lane of Rack with that, punching their ticket into the round of 8. It is absolute desperation time as MVP fight with their tournament lives on the line.
The Axe even lived his way through that one. The Terrorblade's going to have many morphs back up with a Manta style. That's a second lane of Rax with no clip available, and possibly even Mega Creeps if they want to go for top. They've even got the Warlock ultimate. If MVP respawns to 5, they're in for some hurt.
It's over, guys. They've already lost 2 lanes. They don't have buybacks here. They're going to lose a 3rd, most likely before they can even get back into position. Even if they get a point, but that's enough as the rock drop. An emphatic shutdown from OG. The Green Dream lives on here in Boston today. They will move into the round of 8 in convincing fashion.
That whole group stage performance really hurt them. Versing one of the tournament favorites in the first round. OG get the job done. They 2-0 MVP. The team that first knocked them down to the lower bracket if you go back to TI. So I'm sure OG going to be feeling pretty good about getting some revenge there. And also just getting through that first round of the single elimination bracket.
Well, MVP, they did have a very last minute roster change coming into this major, and it seemed like maybe that was a part of it. They didn't quite seem to be on the same page at times. One hero running in, another running away. Very one-dimensional playstyle, and OG were ready for it. They were not surprised, and they got punished.
Yeah, OG, one of the teams that can just prepare so well for these matches when they get the time to do so. We saw it there with 2 great drafts coming out from Fly.